Oh, yeah. Is it Tuesday already? Maul Shadow Lord is finally here. The first two episodes premiered yesterday, and we got to talk about it because, I mean, talk about a perfect start. Talk about a great setup for what could go down as one of the greatest Star Wars projects of all time. It's currently sitting at a 100% on Rotten Tomatoes from the critics, and even a 96, I think, from the fans. We got to talk about this. There's so many Easter eggs and little hidden details from those two episodes that we missed, so we'll break those down. And we got to talk about the future of Star Wars content, because not only are we getting a Maul Shadow Lord Season 2, but the future of movies, the future of everything has been revealed. So we'll talk about all of this. We got a lot to get into and not a lot of time, so without further ado, let's dive into all of it. What's up, everybody? How's everybody doing on this fine Tuesday afternoon? A Tuesday after Maul Mondays is a pretty great day. This is... it's better than I could have possibly imagined. It's so great to wake up the day after a premiere and have the Star Wars fandom buzzing. Like, absolutely going crazy. Off the walls, people are loving Maul. And it's not really even a debate. I have yet to see a single person online who has said that they didn't like the first two episodes, which in the Star Wars fandom is just insanity. But here we are on a Tuesday after a premiere with pretty much 100% positivity. Now, that just opened the floodgates for people to come in and say, this show sucks. But, you know, people are entitled to their own opinions, even if those opinions are trash. Just kidding. Just kidding! Okay, but let's start the stream the correct way, the only way we know how, by saying hi to everybody in the chat, shall we? What do we think of Maul Shadow Lord? On a scale of 1 to 10, tell me in the chat. All right, let's say hi to everybody. B-Man, how we doing? 730 Evie, what is up? Brandon Baker in the building. Jen Urso, what is up? Cleve Morris in the house. 50 Thunderer, how we doing? Steve in the building. Fearless, how we doing? Darth Plagueis lives in the house. Xavier, how we doing? Emery, what is up? Darth Doyle in the building. All right, if I missed you, you know the deal. Just yell at me in the chat. King Shadow, how we doing? E-Shadow, what is up? All right, if I missed you, you know the deal. Just yell at me in the chat. Let's give everybody a nice little...
Hello there.
General Kenobi.
All right, on a scale of 1 to 10, what do we think of the premiere for Maul Shadow Lord? We'll go both episodes combined. What do we think of the premiere of Maul Shadow Lord? Tell me in the chat. Now, all right, actually, let's just read some here. 10 out of 10, okay, 9, 9, 9, 10, 9, 10, 10, 9, 10, 10, 7. I'm tired of this era of Star Wars. Now, that's a take I have not heard yet. I'm tired of this era of Star Wars. Well, by this era, do you mean the prequels? Or like the in-between the prequels of the originals? Because Maul is actually in an era that's untouched, at least from an animated or live-action standpoint, completely untouched. It's the 10-ish years in between Order 66 and Solo. The Bad Batch Season 3 still exists before Maul Shadow Lord. So Maul is in a completely untouched time period. So do you just mean the prequel trilogy? I get that. There's a lot of prequel stuff going on. A lot. 7 seasons of the Clone Wars, 3 seasons of the Bad Batch, 3 whole movies, Tales of the Jedi. There's a lot that covers the prequel trilogy time period. I get it. 9 out of 10, 10 out of 10, 100 out of 10. Okay, 10, 10, 9. Episode 1, 9.4. Episode 2, 9.2. Combined at 9.3. Nice. 9. So some pretty high scores, to say the least. Some pretty high scores. Let me actually put up a poll here in the chat. I know we did this on the live watch party, and I appreciate you guys who came to that watch party. I know it was in the middle of the night, but it was pretty awesome. We had a great time anyway. All right. What did you think of the 2 episodes of Maul Shadow Lord? Did you love them? Did you like them? Were you like, meh? I mean, they were all right. Or did you hate them? Which I certainly hope you didn't, but here we are. What do we think? Tell me in the chat. And now let's actually, I want to get to this first because this is pretty crazy. We got some trivia / fun facts from StarWars.com themselves. So for these first 2 episodes of Maul Shadowlord, they actually released this pretty cool thing that gives us a little bit of Easter eggs and fun facts for the first couple episodes of Maul Shadowlord. So let's read this first. We'll talk about the episodes individually and together and all that happened after. But let's get to this first. So this is the making of Maul Shadowlord. Inside the making of Maul Shadowlord, trivia and fun facts. All right. You don't have to know everything about Star Wars or even Maul to get into Maul Shadowlord, the new animated series on Disney+. Now, what's crazy about that is I always hear that from the actors and creators and go, what are you talking about? Have you seen the amount of Star Wars lore you need to understand to get into this show? You have to watch 7 seasons of the Clone Wars. You have to know who Maul is from the prequel trilogy. There is at least 30 hours of watching necessary for Star Wars content to even think about watching Maul Shadowlord. And yet, every single time I go in with the mindset, I watch the 2 episodes with the mindset of, if I've never seen Star Wars before, not a single second, if I don't even know that Darth Vader is Luke Skywalker's freaking dad, spoiler alert, can I understand this show and can I enjoy this show? And honestly, the first 2 episodes do a spectacular job of that. And maybe it's because they're introducing a ton of new characters, Icarus and Scorn and Spybot and Devon Izara and her master Iko Dio and Brander Lawson, all these brand new characters. They're also setting up a brand new world of Janix. So although Maul is a character that people know and love, everything else is not. Everything, including our 2 crime bosses on this planet, who we'll get to in a little bit. But the whole planet, the crime system on this planet, everything is new. So even if you have seen everything else in Star Wars, it doesn't help you learn what Janix is. So they do a really great job of it. They set up Maul. They tell you from different characters. They tease the Shadow Collective. They explain the Shadow Collective in the 2nd episode. So they do a great job of that. All right, continuing. All you really need to understand is that this is a story about a guy who has been wronged by a bunch of people and he wants payback, which, by the way, the show tells you that. The show absolutely tells you that. All right, says head writer Mac Mitnovitz. But inside the writer's room, the team crafting this pulpy noir wanted to know literally everything they could know about Maul, down to every person who has crossed him, which he's going to, end up killing all of them in this season, starting with the Pikes. That meant working out his kill list to include in the show Bible. Bible? I'll get to that super chat in 1 sec. Beyond Obi-Wan Kenobi, there's mums on the details. However, supervising director Brad Rao and Matt Miknovitz and lore executive Matt Martin have shared interesting stories and other bits of trivia from the creation of the series. So let's take a look at this. So episodes 101 and 102, episode 1 and 2. All right. Number 1. Much of Maul Shadowlord is set on the world of Janix, a completely new location created for this series. A mid-rim planet largely beneath the Empire's notice. The world features a large metropolis built into an ancient crater surrounded by a vast overgrown jungle. So it's literally in a crater on a planet, but it's a full-on city. It looks a lot like Coruscant when you're in the midst of it, but it is a completely new planet of Janix, and this is concept art for it, which looks straight out of the movie. Straight out of the show. Now, it's interesting, and I'll see what you guys think in a second here, but why do you think Brander Lawson doesn't want the Empire on Janix? Because Two Boots is like, we're supposed to contact the Empire. We're supposed to contact the Empire. The entire 2 episodes. And Brander's like, nah, we don't need them. We don't need them. And obviously Maul doesn't want the Empire there either. But All right, number 2, Rook cast. So familiar face coming back. Vanessa Marshall, the GOAT herself, Hera Syndulla, voice actress herself, is back to play Rook cast. First seen in the comic book series Son of Dathomir, which was based off an unproduced scripts of the Clone Wars. She made her on-screen debut in the Clone Wars Season 7 in the episode Old Friends Not Forgotten. So originally created for this concept of a arc in the Clone Wars that was scrapped because the Clone Wars was sort of canceled at the time and turned into a comic series called The Son of Dathomir, which, by the way, I think will be a very important piece of this. There's a reason that Rook cast is a main character in this show. There's a reason that there's still Mandalorians or Mauldalorians hanging out with Maul, and I think that backstory will be hopefully explored, but we'll have to wait and see. All right, number 3. Rounding out Maul's crew are a pair of Dathomirian Night Brothers and the group of Mandalorian super commandos. 2 factions with deep ties to Maul's history. Maul himself was born a Night Brother, before becoming a Sith. Before beginning his Sith training. Many years later, Maul would utilize those ties to the Death Watch splinter group of Mandalore to gain control of Mandalore. So, I guess my question to you, chat, would be, do you think we are going to the planet of Dathomir in this season? Because we're definitely going in this show. We know that. Maul is on Dathomir in Solo, a Star Wars story. In that hologram at the end of the movie, that's where he is, and tells Kira to come meet him there. So do you think we are going to Dathomir in Maul Shadow Lord Season 1? Yes or no? Because I could see it happening later on, maybe in Season 2, 3, whatever, but Season 1 in the remaining 8 episodes. What do we think? I don't think so, not in this season. That's kind of where I'm at. She sounds like the armorer. Rook cast being the armorer, and that being, I guess, fleshed out in this series would be so cool. Because it's already a fan theory that she is, in fact, the armorer from The Mandalorian. But now to get like that origin story to see why she is the way that she is, because right now she's taken off her helmet. What puts her to the point where she refuses to take off her helmet? And what's the fallout between her and Maul? That's what I kind of want to see. How far in the future is Solo from this series now? I would guess anywhere from 6 to 8 years. Solo is 10 years after Order 66. So this series is a few years after Order 66. Nothing concrete on that date yet. So just a few years would be anywhere from 2 to 4 years. So you're talking 6 to 8 years from Solo. It's not like Solo is tomorrow. We got a ways to go before we get to those events. Yeah. Indeed. I think the Empire killed Brander's parents. Now that's a theory I kind of like. Well, we know from the comic that Brander is a bounty hunter, a former bounty hunter, and that's why he has those connections to these people like Sul, her name was, I believe, the girl he goes to meet in episode 2, who explains the Shadow Collective to everybody about the Pikes and Maul and Mandalore and the Black Sun and the Crimson Dawn. She explains all of that, and she's sort of like a weird underworld girl, and you're like, why would Brander Lawson have this connection? Well, Brander has a pretty dark backstory himself, was once a bounty hunter himself. So the Maul comic does give you a little bit of a backstory to some of these characters, which is cool. Okay, continuing. 4. The acronym TDF that is seen on some officers' uniforms denotes members of the Tactical Defense Force. TDF is a special unit within the Janix Civil Defense, the organization that oversees the all law enforcement and peacekeeping on the planet. There you go. I didn't even notice that. The Tactical Defense Force. Okay, now here's where things get really cool. So this is Master Eco Dio. During development, Iko Diodaki was lovingly referred to as Dino Jedi, which is a great name. Dino Jedi, before actually given his official name. He also is a new species called Moisk. Moisk. Sure. So a new species. Not to be confused with the Verk, which is Coleman Treber's species from the prequel trilogy. Iko Dio is a new species entirely, which is strange to me because it looks the exact same as Coleman from Attack of the Clones. So I don't know why they didn't just stick with the same species. I don't know what it was, but a new species for Master Iko Dio, the Dino Jedi. And honestly, not what I thought we were going to get from this character. I thought by this Tuesday live stream, we would be talking about how legendary this character was because he made an ultimate sacrifice to protect his Padawan or something like that, or maybe his death was so crazy. I thought he would have been gone by the end of the first 2 episodes. But clearly, I was wrong, and this character is going to be extremely important throughout the entire course of this season. I think he will still die by the end of season 1, and it will be a big turning point for Devon's character, but it won't be anytime soon. Because as episode 2 ended, Devon escapes Maul, and she's going right back to Master Iko Dio to tell him everything that she saw. And she's going to be, as Maul, informing her of he's not the villain, I'm not the bad guy, and this isn't just good versus evil anymore. She's going to be fully convinced that Maul can help them, and Master Iko Dio is going to be like, nope, we're not going to do that. No, thank you. And that relationship is going to be very cool as we go along here. Everyone dies, in my eyes. What do you mean by that, Jason? What are you trying to say? That I kill off Star Wars characters?
Incorrect.
No. Okay. But new species for Master Iko Dio called Moisk or something along those lines. All right. Number 6. When Master Iko Dio begs for a citizen to help him, they reply with Ichuta, which is a rude Huttese phrase first uttered in The Empire Strikes Back. Huh. Before I keep saying it out loud, I should probably find out what the translation is. Okay, continuing. Two Boots is voiced by prolific British comedian and travel man Richard Ayoade? Richard, sure. This is Richard's second droid character in the Star Wars galaxy. He previously voiced Q90 or Zero in The Mandalorian. Oh, I didn't know that. Huh. So this droid from The Mandalorian season 2? No, season 1. Wait. What season is Bill Burr in? Oh, he's in season 1 and 2, but this droid's only in season 1. Okay. So from The Mandalorian season 1, the droid Zero is voiced by the same British comedian as Two Boots. Two Boots was a surprise to be sure, but a welcome one. I knew I was going to love Spybot from the moment I saw his UFO-looking body on screen. But Two Boots was more of a surprise to me. He was great, too. And he actually won the war versus Spybot, which was also a surprise. Okay. Number 8, we frequently used a droid's eye view perspective when Spybot is snooping, a POV rarely seen in Star Wars media. That is true. And Spybot had some of the greatest one-liners of all time, going like, booyah, and, like, he's just saying some crazy stuff and laughing to himself. Spybot is the GOAT. Okay? So don't mess with my boy. Spybot will never die. We'll put it that way. Even though he's not with Maul and Rebels, he will never die. But, yeah. There we are. Okay, continuing. Number 9. The meal served to Ludi, Vario, and Demas, the two crime lords that we get introduced to here. Don't get too attached to Demas. He is, dead. See, I like to predict Star Wars deaths because they happen all the time. Demas is already gone. And Vario is probably not far behind. But at their meeting in the warehouse, it's inspired by the classic Italian dish, chicken parm. A little background information on me, chat. Chicken parm is like one of my all-time favorites. Whenever I go to any Italian restaurant or a restaurant that just serves Italian food, you have to try their chicken parm. If they don't make a good chicken parm, then the rest of the menu should just be thrown out the window. So, love me some chicken parm. And the moment I saw this appear on the screen, my mouth began to salivate, and I'm just getting hungry talking about it right now. So, chicken parm served up at writers' meetings held at Dan Tana's in West Hollywood. When you see Vario cutting into it, the way the cheese pull was not so easy to do, but it's great. Head writer Matt Miknovitz says, actually a little bit of cool thing about that too, that I got saved over here. Talk about the upgrade on the animation. It's like night and day. So this is back in the Clone Wars. This is Obi-Wan and the senator from Ryloth, blanking on his name. Cannot think of his name for the life of me right now. But they're eating these gigantic looking turkey legs or chicken wings or whatever you want to call them. And that's what the food looked like in the Clone Wars. Fast forward to today. I mean, how do we get these? How is it going to even improve from here? I feel like we've maxed out the amount of realism we can get in animation before it turns into real life. Like the animation from Maul Shadowlord is just spectacular. I guess the only thing that differentiates it from being ultra realistic is the paint design, the way that you can sort of see the brush strokes type thing, which is another really cool thing. But talk about an upgrade from 2026 to the Clone Wars. I don't know what season this is from, but I mean, come on. Come on. The attention to detail is insane. But, okay, back to this. All right, here we go. A crazy picture of Sam Witwer with Maul drawings on his face. Number 10. Actor Sam Witwer drew lines on his face. Whoa. To approximate Maul's markings during the sessions, providing live animation references to the artists on the series at Lucasfilm headquarters in San Francisco. We wanted to get as much nuance into the animation as possible, said Supervisor Director Brad Rao. He's such a great on-screen actor in the booth. Some of the things we did were inspirational for sure. He has no hesitation. His fearlessness, perfectly Maul all the time. So they actually used Sam's face to create Maul. That's crazy. He's even got the contacts in his eyes. That's wild. I did not know that. So that's pretty cool. All right, number 11. Among the noir film references in the series, Matt Miknovitz named Heat from 1995 as a source of inspiration, easy for me to say, for the pulpy cat and mouse detective storyline. Did anybody else? Let's zoom in on these two. First of all, didn't think I would like Brandon Lawson as much as I do. The introduction to his character is great. The fact that he's sort of a family man and has this backstory of being a bounty hunter and just all this stuff about him is just fantastic. But anybody else get the sort of Batman and Commissioner Gordon relationship with these two? It's almost like an evil Batman with Maul, or I guess the Joker, but Maul's not that crazy. At least not yet. So it's sort of like an evil Batman and Commissioner Gordon relationship. And what I found fascinating about the first episode in particular was that Maul, they really focused on Maul recognizing this guy. Not recognizing him like, oh, I know him from the past, but more so being like, this guy's going to be important to me in the future. And at the end of episode 1, when he has the chance to just kill him, he doesn't. Instead of stabbing him through the chest with his lightsaber, he hits Brandon Lawson in the face, knocking him out with the hilt of his lightsaber. There is something more going on there that Maul is not really telling us yet, of course, but he's got a plan for Brandon Lawson. I don't know what it is. Don't know what it is. But that's a great relationship. And as Brander finds out about Maul, so does the audience. And that's why it's very easy to, watch this show as the first thing you've ever seen for Star Wars. Okay. Number 12. The city on Janix is inspired in part by Batman's Gotham. We just said that. A sprawling metropolis with a dark underbelly. What's under the crater? What's at the edge of the crater? What's beyond the crater? Matt Micknovitz asked. Despite the Metropolis/Gotham/noir DNA of it, there's also a kind of weird, subtle threat of the frontier beyond what is on the outside of this city. That is interesting because we got a lot of scenes from the trailers that sort of show this, I guess, foresty looking place. The bridge sequence and all that, that's sort of in the jungle type thing. So maybe that is still on the planet of Janix. It's just outside of the city because around this giant crater is the jungle. So maybe we're all still on the same planet. But continuing. Number 13. The fruit cart vendor is voiced by D. Bradley Baker, longtime Star Wars cast member who voiced the clones in Star Wars The Clone Wars and Clone Force 99 in The Bad Batch. Originally, his wares were going to be Maul runs, which are from Star Wars Rebels. But the fruit also seen in Star Wars Rebels could be too large for Devon Izara to conceal. That's true. Maul runs are Harrison Dula's favorites, and they are quite large. But that's pretty cool. I didn't know D. Bradley Baker was voicing that guy. So he's the one who snitches on Devon. Nice. Love it. Number 14. Brandon Lawson work keeps him busy, as evident by existing noodle containers and pizza-like boxes littering his family's kitchen. He's a better detective than he is a dad. That relationship is going to be important as we go along here. His son, Riley, I believe his name is. Riley is going to be a very important piece of this story. There's a reason he's on the poster for the show, because here's how I see it. I think Maul is going to be using Brander as he takes over Janix and takes control of, I guess, Demas and Vario's place in their territory. He will be the new leader of the criminal underworld on Janix. And he's going to make sure that the police of the planet, including Brander Lawson, are under his payroll, let's put it. And I think Brander's not going to want to do that. And Maul you're going to see how evil Maul truly is, because he's going to threaten his son. He might even capture his son and hold him against his will or something. Like, this kid is going to be the catalyst for what allows Maul to use Brander Lawson however he feels fit. Because he can capture his son, he can threaten his son, whatever it may be. But that kid's not going to be in for a fun run with Maul. You almost forget, because the show is called Maul Shadowlord, because he's the main character of this series, that Maul still is a horrible guy. Right now, he's just killing pikes, so you don't really feel bad about it. But once he starts killing innocent people again, you'll start to feel a little bad for it. And Riley might be on the chopping block. Okay, continuing. Number 15. Maul returns carrying a red blade. With a hilt designed after the lightsaber lost during the Siege of Mandalore. According to filmmakers, the idea was that Rook, Cast, and the other loyalists had returned for the relic, which had been slightly modified, but is essentially the same weapon. Oh, that's pretty cool. I forgot about that. He loses his lightsaber in the fight versus Ahsoka. So his followers in Rook Cast are the ones who found the saber and returned it to him. That makes sense. Okay. 16. The running gag between Captain Brander Lawson almost always having a cup of calf in his hand or nearby. If you look closely, you can count the discarded cups on his way home from the workstation. Huh. We wanted there to be a realistic aspect to him and the police force. So if you notice that he's drinking calf all the time, every once in a while, you get a shot of his desk, and you'll look closely. There's like 6 cups on his desk, and then you'll cut to him in a speeder, and he's drinking another cup of calf in his speeder. He gets home, and he's drinking more. I did notice that on my 4th watch through of the episodes. He is drinking a ton, and they even make a joke about it with Two Boots because he's got the empty cup, and hilarious. Okay. And then we get this character here. 17. The befitting of the series, film, noir-inspired tone, Rena Sull. Sull was in the closed captions for it, so this is official name, I guess. Was initially envisioned as Maul Shadowlord's answer to the classic fatale archetype. Sure. So this is the girl who gives us all the answers. All the answers to every question that you could possibly have if you don't know about the character of Maul. What the Shadow Collective, that's the word I was looking for. Shadow Collective is, and who Maul is. She's the one who gives us all the answers in episode 2, and her and Brander has some backstory that, may have happened off screen. But we don't talk about that. Okay. Riley is introduced wearing a Tekken uniform and surrounded by various gear, including a pad, helmet, and hooked instrument similar to a lacrosse stick. Riley wears number 6 on the field. So a kid who, wants to play a lacrosse type game but lives on a city planet where he can't do that. And his mom is calling out to him, but we don't know what the relationship is with his mom and why she's not on this planet. And his dad surely works a ton and has no time for his kid. Yeah. Maul already put civilians at risk. True. When he collapses the bridge. Yeah. Yeah. When you're rooting for Maul, it's hard to remember that he's still the bad guy. I'm like Devin Izara sitting in a cell and Maul's telling me all these great things, and I'm like, yes, you're right. Maul, you're absolutely right. You are the great guy. You're a great guy. You're a great guy. And then he's chopping off people's heads, and I'm like, okay, maybe not. Maybe not. All right. Number 19, Saul's office. Sort of a unique aquarium-looking thing. Something often seen behind powerful gangsters in crime films, serving as a visual metaphor for power, control, and character personality. There you have it. This one is just absolutely insane. Talk about attention to detail. So this is the Central Tower hologram placement. Every single tiny little thing here has a purpose to it, which is just absolutely insane. The bright neon signs are commonplace around Janix and feature advertisements for the best blurger in town. R.I.P. the blurg. The finest refined hyperfuel in the galaxy, and more. So, talk about attention to detail. You got blue milk signs. You got this one that says, our flight powers our galaxy. Our flight powers our galaxy? Sure. I don't know what that means. This one just translates to letters, I guess. A cafe. Yeah, the best blurg in the... This one says Coruscant. So, talk about attention to detail. Oh, and that's it. So, there you have it. Those are the little details, hidden Easter eggs, whatever. Cool little fun facts for Maul Shadowlord that I want to show you guys before we, dive deep into these episodes. But, honestly, talk about a perfect start. Now, I actually posted this on the X, formerly known as Twitter, last night, and I think it puts it very perfectly here. Yeah, this right here. After watching the first 2 episodes of Star Wars Maul Shadowlord 5 times, this show is truly perfection. Perfect animation, perfect intros for new characters, perfect score, perfect casting, perfect start to this series. My one complaint is that we have to wait a whole another week for episode 3 and 4. Now, I guess it's a joke that we do have to wait that long. Allows us to give our crazy predictions, but it's not just me and a lot of you guys in the chat that are saying this show is so great. This is the Rotten Tomatoes score. Now, a 100 out of 100, a 100% on Rotten Tomatoes is insane. And that's with 25 different critics all agreeing that this is a 100. Now, the fans, you'd think, oh, maybe the critics just don't know what they're looking at, blah, 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 blah. The fans got it at a 96. You're talking about a Star Wars community that has haters on haters on haters, which we've seen all the time. But this show is so good that it doesn't matter. A 96 audience score for Maul Shadowlord. Now, keep in mind, the 100% is based off of the first 8 episodes. Not the first 2, the first 8. So that 100%, the critics have seen the first 8 episodes. The 96 is just based off of the first 2 from fans that fans have seen. So this show gets better. Now, we already assumed it was going to get better. There's plenty of lightsaber duels with Inquisitors and the Empire and Stormtroopers that we haven't touched yet. But this is just the beginning. But it gets better from here. The 100% is based off of the first 8 episodes of this 10-episode series. Now, tell me in the chat, do you agree with this? Do you agree with the critic review and the fan review that this show is that good? Because let me compare it to some other things. And granted, we've only seen the first 2 episodes, but let me compare it to some other things here. In terms of Star Wars projects all time, it's number 1. Higher than The Mandalorian, higher than The Clone Wars, higher than Empire Strikes Back and Andor, higher than Rebels. It is number 1. Now, it's nearly impossible for me to say that Maul is the greatest Star Wars project of all time after just 2 episodes. That's impossible because it's not. If you take these 2 first episodes and put it up against The Empire Strikes Back, we're not even in the same galaxy yet. However, we've only seen, 1/5 of the show? Is that mathematic? Yeah, 1/5 of the show. We haven't even come close to seeing this entire series. Now, as I just mentioned, though, the critics have seen 8 of the episodes, so maybe they have some more things than we know of. But do we agree with this so far? I guess you can only really take the first 2 episodes of every other show. And again, that's really hard to do because these are some movies we're going up against. Now, if this is to remain the same, if this 100% is going to remain a 100% for the entirety of this first season, and fans agree, because right now fans agree, a 96 is a 96. If it remains the same through the entire 10 episodes, through the entire season, then we're going to have a pretty crazy conversation. Because last year, in 2025, we got Andor Season 2, which is number 3 on this list. Well, Andor as a whole is number 3 on this list. But the last 5 episodes of Andor are 5 of the highest rated episodes of all time. So if we got this last year, we got the Clone Wars Season 7 5-ish years ago, give or take. We got Skeleton Crew 2 years ago. We got The Mandalorian 5 to 3 years ago because it's 3 seasons. And we got Rebels a few years before that. The Force Awakens thrown in there as well in 2015, The Last Jedi in 2017. Of these top 8 highest Star Wars projects ratings of all time, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Wait, what? Oh, there's a tie. My fault. It's a top 10. It's a top 10 of these top 10 highest rated Star Wars projects of all time. 8 of them are Disney Star Wars. Take a second to let that sink in. The Disney ruined Star Wars. Disney Star Wars is trash. Star Wars died after Disney bought the company. What are we even talking about anymore? There is so much, quote unquote, peak content. You don't believe me? Look at the score. The Disney era of Star Wars has just given us banger after banger after banger. Now, I'm not just going to sit here and go, Disney made Star Wars what it is, because that's obviously not the case. George Lucas created the whole freaking franchise and then sold it to Disney 30 plus years later. And Empire Strikes Back is still better than 99% of the things. However, the whole Disney ruined Star Wars is dead thing, the whole, oh my God, Star Wars is so back, it didn't go anywhere. You're looking at 8 of the top 10 highest rated Star Wars projects ever happening within the last 10 years. Maybe 11 years. 11 years, Force Awakens. 11 years. That's crazy. That's crazy. So, I'm hoping Maul Shadow Lord lives up to that hype. A 100% is no mere thing to shake your head at. It's a 100%. Hopefully it stays that way. But the fact that the audience is saying the same is not something that always happens with Star Wars. The critics and the fans have disagreed on a number of projects. A many number of projects. Yeah. So, this is wild. A perfect 100 is just, it's insane. No other Star Wars project has ever had that. And Maul's going to be the first one. Again, it can change. There's still 8 more episodes, but the critics have seen 8 of them. 8 of 10. They've seen 8 of them. So unless the finale bombs, unless the finale sucks, it's probably going to stay pretty high. So, there's the Maul reviews. But now let's talk about where we would review them. What would you give the first 2 episodes out of 100? Let's say you're somebody who works at the Rotten Tomato. You know, talk about a crazy name, Rotten Tomatoes. Let's say you work at the Rotten Tomatoes on a scale of 0 to 100. Where would you put the first 2 episodes of Maul Shadow Lord? For me, I'd immediately go straight to at the very least, high 80s. At the very least. Talk about a perfect intro to all these different characters, setting up the Maul stuff and what happened to him over the last couple of years, and him just seeing Force visions about this girl. High 80s, at least. Where would you put it? Episode 1 higher than 2. I agree with you. I think episode 1 was better. It was longer, but I don't think that means it's necessarily better. I have seen some complaints about the runtime. And to be fair, I had those exact same complaints. I thought this show flew by. Now, the problem I think we have as Star Wars fans, and I had in particular, was that I just finished watching Andor Season 2 again. Me and Samantha just finished Andor Season 2. We're starting Rogue One tonight. But Andor episodes are like 45, 50, 55 minutes, some even an hour. And then this show is like 25 minutes, 31 minutes for the episodes, which is completely normal for an animated series. So it's not out of the regular. But I think I just, messed my brain up by thinking we were getting 2 episodes of Andor when it was 2 episodes of an animated series. So the run times threw me off. Yeah. Still some pretty high scores. So 85, 84, 98.3, okay. 88, 85, 91, 95, 85. Yeah. Unfortunately, I know what happens to Devon Izara because of the ads. I don't know what you mean by that, but let's take a look actually at said ads, because as we talk about a lot on this channel, so much of the trailers are shown in the first 2 episodes. So take a look at this. Let's watch the official trailer from Maul Shadow Lord here and just look at how many of these scenes we've already seen. Take a look at this.
Our target is a syndicate leader. He is associated with several criminal organizations.
Hang on, let's fix this blurriness here. There we go.
And proficient with a laser sword.
The Empire tried to kill me. Their betrayal demands consequence. And that consequence requires a weapon. Together, we can destroy the Empire.
He wants to fight as allies.
The Empire may be our common enemy, but Maul will never be our ally.
We need to find him, whatever it takes.
This is escalating out of our hands. The Empire will want answers.
The Empire will lock this planet down.
Jedi, where is Maul? I'm right here. Let us have our revenge.
We're not gonna take out the whole Empire.
I mean, still one of the most badass trailers we've ever gotten, but so much of it, at least the first, I'd say, half, I suppose, is all from the first 2 episodes. All the stuff with the Inquisitors and the Empire we haven't seen yet, but all of this opening stuff
He is associated.
with Brandon Lawson talking, we've seen already, was in the first 2 episodes. We've seen all of that. We've seen all of that. We've seen this.
Their betrayal demands
Now, we haven't seen any stormtroopers. We haven't even seen the Empire yet. So all of that, when you see a stormtrooper, when you see the Inquisitors, when you see the Star Destroyer over Janix, that hasn't been seen yet. However, I still think that stuff could be next week. Like in episode 3 and 4, the Empire shows up on Janix, because Brander can't hold them off this long. He has just pure chaos happening, and now the Pikes are going to show up with full force because they all just got killed, or I guess a group of them got killed by Maul, and now they're going to have to go after Maul.
consequence.
Actually, him slicing these Pikes, that has not been seen yet. These are different Pikes. So now we can actually start to break down what we haven't seen yet, because this is a big one. This is likely to be in the next week's episodes. Look at that giant droid behind him. Who the hell is that? Okay, now we're going into the underworld here. Really underworld.
That
This was in our premiere.
consequence requires a weapon.
Haven't seen her wielding her lightsaber yet. We actually haven't even seen her lightsaber yet.
Together.
She's holding her lightsaber. Oh, wait. Is that her lightsaber? That's not her lightsaber. Wait a second. That's not hers. We've seen her lightsaber. It's being sold at Galaxy's Edge right now. That's not her lightsaber. Whose lightsaber is that? Interesting.
We can destroy.
This we've already seen. By the way, another Maul hallway scene. Come on.
The Empire.
He wants to fight as allies.
We have not got this conversation yet, and no, that is not Cad Bane. We have not gotten this conversation yet. However, I'd like to take a moment to acknowledge the fact that Master Iko Dio Daki, his staff if you can even call it that, is like just a random pipe. You're so amused by the fact that he's this crazy dinosaur-looking Jedi. He's carrying around a pipe. It looks like a muffler to a car. What are we doing? What is happening?
This is where the fun begins.
So, yeah. I don't know what's going on there. But
The Empire may be our common enemy, but Maul will never be our ally.
so that's what I kind of think. That's where we're going next week. Devon Izara goes back to her master to say, Maul can help us. And he's going to be like, hell no. You know, that's probably what he'll say. No, he's going to say no because he knows who Maul is and he doesn't want to work with him because he's a bad guy. And we saw in these first 2 episodes, he doesn't want to ruffle any feathers. Doesn't want to make any ripples in the tide because then the Empire will show up and he knows that they need to survive. They've survived this long. The 2 of them have survived for multiple years since Order 66 happened. So he's pretty good at his job, and that job is not being seen by anybody or the Empire. So he's going to keep it that way. If he can keep Devon Izara safe, then he's going to do it. And teaming up with Maul is not the way to do it. So the only way for Devon to fight back, the only way for her to join Maul and become his apprentice eventually, hopefully, is if this guy dies. That is the only way. The only way. Yeah. It's got to be his lightsaber. Oh, I'm sure like a piece of it is his lightsaber. Yeah, but it's a pipe. It's a muffler for a car. Yeah. 100%.
We need to find him. Whatever it takes.
This is escalating out of our hands.
Saw that.
The Empire will
I've not seen this. This is Obadiah. This is the Pike home world. And it's likely that this could be in the next 2 episodes. I feel like the Pikes are going to send people after Maul first instead of Maul going to them, but we'll see.
Empire will want answers.
We have not gotten our Inquisitors yet. I don't know when we'll see them. I feel like next week may be a little too early. I mean, we might get some Empire next week, but not the Inquisitors yet. I don't know. We'll see.
The Empire will lock this planet down.
Jedi, where is Maul?
I would be shocked if this is the finale. You know? I'd be shocked if they saved this fight scene for the finale, or in general, if they showed us any fight scenes from the finale. So I would assume that this is sort of a mid-season epic fight and leads to an epic fight in the finale, which would mean that this is probably either next week or the following week in episodes 3 and 4 or episodes 5 and 6. That would be my guess.
I'm right here.
And this is going to be the big turning moment because for some reason her master's not with them right now. So Maul saving her bacon and I guess protecting her is going to be a big part of her allowing to go or agreeing to go with him. And actually at this moment, he might be dead. Master Iko Dio might be dead.
Let us have our revenge.
All of this stuff. This is what I'm talking about. This could be on Janix still. Because there's this giant jungle around the crater that's in the ground, and that could be this. So this could be on our same planet as Janix. Stormtroopers all around. Not looking too good here.
We're not gonna take out the whole Empire.
Yeah, we are. So, I'd say maybe 55% of that trailer we've already seen in the first 2 episodes, and the other 45 are, honestly, we have so much more information now that those very well could be next week or the following week after that. But at least in this first half-ish of the season, it can't really be a half because it's coming out 2 by 2. But now we have so much more information just off of the first 2 episodes to kind of figure out where this is going, how this is going to go down between Devin and Maul and all that great stuff. Now, one of the coolest aspects of the first 2 episodes was that Maul is having visions. I think this might actually be the downfall of Darth Maul. He's having these visions of this girl, and the closer that he gets to her, the clearer the vision gets, and now he's trying to lure this girl to the dark side. The problem becomes whatever happens to this girl, whether she dies, whether she leaves him, whatever it may be. We know where his story ends. He's on Malachor 5 by himself. No criminal empire, no Devin Izara, no Kira from Solo, none of that. By himself. He's a shadow. That's what they even call him. So, how does he get there? I think he's going to lose his mind. So the same way that we had Anakin Skywalker having visions in Revenge of the Sith and Attack of the Clones, I guess. He had visions of his mom dying, and then he has visions of Padme dying. I think these visions are going to turn Maul insane. And that, not like fully insane, but, just the insanity that we see from him in Rebels. And it might lead to him just in his want for revenge, gnawing at him to the point where he loses it and loses everything. All for one goal, to kill Palpatine. And I certainly hope this show gets to the point where Palpatine and Maul are in the same room together. That would be awesome, and we get an actual showdown. But from what we've already seen in the Clone Wars, Maul has a 0.00000000001% chance of even competing with Palpatine. He gets absolutely smacked by Palpatine with his brother, by the way, a Night Sister Magic enhanced Sith apprentice, pretty much. Savage Opress, the two of them get destroyed by Palpatine in a matter of minutes. So Maul has no chance going up against Palpatine by himself. Even with Devin Izara, who's still a kid, no chance. So I think this show will have another encounter between the two of them, but it can't end with either of them dying, of course. But it'll be interesting to see how it ends, I suppose. Now that we've seen the first 2 episodes of this series, we can start to make some more accurate predictions. Because we were talking about whether Palpatine or Vader will be in this series, or in this first season, I should say. And the mention of Darth Sidious in episode 2 does indicate that it's very likely we see those two at some point in the series. I guess my question to you, chat, would be, do you think Vader and Palpatine himself will be in season 1? Now, the Inquisitor fights are a big deal, of course, and they'll happen probably within the next couple weeks. But I think what's a bigger deal is this.
In these times, I prefer to keep my presence a shadow.
Ever heard of Maul?
My lord.
What episode is this in? Are we getting this next week? Or episode 5 and 6? Or episodes 7 and 8? I got a feeling that the Inquisitors are going to be sent after Maul because of this deal with the Pikes. He's going to be making too much noise, and honestly, Two Boots might be the one who calls the Empire, but either way, the Empire is going to be called because of this conflict between him and the Pikes. He made too much noise. And then Inquisitors are going to be sent after him. Well, maybe Stormtroopers at first, but then the Stormtroopers find that there are surviving Jedi on Janix. Maybe they don't even find Maul. They're just looking for Devin and her master. And then the Inquisitors are sent to hunt down the Jedi. And then when Maul is found, that's when they have to contact my Lord, who's either Vader or Palpatine, probably more likely Vader, because Vader is, I guess, the reluctant leader of the Inquisitors. But I don't think this becomes a problem for Vader or even Palpatine until Maul is found out about. And Maul is not going to be the reason that the Empire arrives. It's going to be Devon and her master's fault. Yeah. That's where we're at. My lord. Maul lives. So he's got to figure that out first before he's contacting Vader and Palpatine. I got a feeling Palpatine knows that Maul's still alive, but we'll have to wait and see. What's really crazy about that? Wait, did they just post another video? No. What's really crazy about this is if you look on the Star Wars YouTube account right now, that one we just watched has 4.4 million views. This one, which we'll watch in a second, has 7.1 million views. And if you scroll down here, the official trailer only has 1.7. So people are...
You have been...
Oh, this one. Yeah, this one's crazy. People are really excited for this show. Fans who don't usually check out the animated side of Star Wars are excited for this show. Obviously, it having a 100% on Rotten Tomatoes and fans being so excited about it is going to get word of mouth around to people who would never watch it, and maybe they'll give it a chance. But I watched it with... some of my friends are like, Mike, should I watch this? I've never seen the Clone Wars. I've never seen whatever. And I'm like, first of all, how are we friends? And second of all, absolutely. Because it is easy to watch without having seen anything else. Okay. So this one has 7.1 million views.
You have been replaced.
I master the Force and the Force serves me. I master the Force and the Force serves me. I master the Force and the Force serves me. I master the Force and the Force serves me. I master the Force and the Force serves me.
So the intrigue of this one is it starts with Maul extremely injured, crawling through some pipes.
You have been replaced.
I don't know about you guys. The first 2 episodes of this series did not give any evidence to something like this happening. We get Maul, and he is just so badass. This is Maul running from Vader. Oh my god, that would be awesome. I was thinking that this is more so him running from the Inquisitors. Like maybe 2 Inquisitors was too much for him. It's a possibility. Or maybe it's the this scene right here. Where is it?
To the Force and
This scene right here. If you look very closely, this bridge is a drawbridge. It comes up and down. So as you can see, it's down. It's straight right now. But if you go back a couple scenes or a couple frames, it's Maul versus the 2 Inquisitors, and it's completely up now. Because if you look at the angle of the building behind it, the bridge has been raised, and Maul is the only one on this side. Everybody else is on the other side. So while you see, on one side, actually we'd have to go back to the other trailer, but so it's a drawbridge, it comes up. And on one side, it's going to be Maul trapped with the Inquisitors and trapped with the Empire, and on the other side will be the rest of the people.
and the Force serves me.
So what I think is him crawling through the sewer might be him losing this fight or winning but losing at the same time, and either falling off the bridge, which would be crazy. I mean, he has survived a fall like that before. Or it's him just losing this fight and crawling his way back because he lost. He's extremely injured because of this. So, and the fact that he's in some sort of pipe system makes me think he falls off the bridge. But that drawbridge definitely gets put up, and he is on the side with the Inquisitors. that's pretty crazy. Oh, I got 2 super chats to get to, actually. Here we go. I almost forgot about the first one. So let me get to those really quickly here. Darth Plagueis lives with a very generous $5 holla. Says, Maul is perfect. 12 out of 10. Thanks for doing the watch parties, Mike. I appreciate that. Any crazy predictions for next week? Oh, I got some, but we'll save that in a minute when we get to our predictions. And yes, the watch party was a blast. I know it's like the middle of the night for a lot of you guys. It was for me too, but I know it's the middle of the night, so it was a great crowd turnout. We had a ton of people there, and it was fan-freaking-tastic getting to watch it together with you guys. But yeah, it is indeed perfect, Schlag. The Typhooni with the very generous $5 holla says, what if Palpatine is planting these visions in Maul's head, calling back to George Lucas's original intentions with Revenge of the Sith, with him planting the visions in Anakin's head? That would be crazy. That would be absolutely insane. If Maul wants revenge on Palpatine so bad and Palpatine's just messing with him the entire time, placing visions in his head, honestly, I wouldn't put it past Palpatine, but that would be crazy. Yeah, so I don't know about that. I guess we'll have to wait and see on that one, but that sounds a little crazy. Yeah. Everyone except for him is killed and Devin deserts Maul. That would be crazy. Devin has a red lightsaber in another promo. A red lightsaber? Which promo is that? Which one are you speaking of? Either way, now it's really cool to get to, I guess, watch the trailers and figure it out as we go here. Because now we got so much more information with these two episodes. All right, let's talk a couple predictions for next week's episode, and then I got some pretty crazy stuff that Sam Witwer was talking about, and then we have some unrelated Maul news that we got to get to too. So let's talk about predictions for next week's episodes. Episodes 3 and 4, and the titles of those I do have right here. 1 second. What do we think is going down in episode 3 and 4 of Maul Shadow Lord? Do we think we'll get any crazy cameo appearances, all that great stuff? Tell me in the chat. Let me pull up the title. Yeah, right here. Okay. So episode 3 and 4 are titled Whispers in the Unknown and Pride and Vengeance. Now, that doesn't really give us much at all in terms of plot. But we're going to see this whole Pikes thing get resolved, I think. Him going after Krim, the Pike leader, will be probably the catalyst in the main plot of these 2 episodes, and then the Empire showing up. That'll be the biggest part. You look ahead. Chapter 5 is called Inquisition. The Inquisitors will show up, and they will be here very soon. So these 2 episodes will probably set up the introduction of the Empire, some stormtroopers, and maybe even Devon Izara and her master getting maybe not captured, but seen by the Empire. And that's what brings the Inquisitors to town. It would be wild if next week we see the Empire capture Master Iko Dio, or maybe even the police capture Master Iko Dio, and Devon has to go to Maul to ask him for help to go save her master. That would be awesome. Now, that would be sick. But any predictions for these 2 episodes? What do we think? First Inquisitor appearance will be in Chapter 4. Okay, I like that. Episode 3 is going to be Maul and Devon Tea Party. Episode 4 is going to be Obadiah and he kills Krem. All right, I kind of like that. Well, the problem is, maybe I am wrong here, but I got the feeling that Maul was leaving. I'm sorry, Maul. Devon was leaving Maul at the end of episode 2. She uses the Force to escape because Maul's like, you can leave whenever you want, and then he leaves. She leaves, sorry. Explore the Force. Jimmy, what's up? How we doing? How we doing? So, maybe she goes back to Maul, but that tea ceremony thing, I don't know if it'll happen in episode 3 and 4. Might be later on in the series. Yeah. So, continuing down the line, I guess, as we look to the future, the big one is Strange Allies. Episode 9 being titled Strange Allies. It could mean anybody at this point. Devon Izara is not really a strange ally to me. She's actually a very non-strange ally. She's the most likely ally at this point. So that's not really strange. You're talking about possible cameo appearances there. You're talking to maybe like an Asajj Ventress type. Now let's talk about cameos for a second here. Let's talk, just give me your top 3 most likely cameos for Maul Shadowlord. Because I got a top 5. So let's talk about, I'll give you my top, here, all right, let's put it this way. Yeah, we'll go from top to bottom here. I got them listed out. Here are my top 5 most likely cameos for Maul Shadowlord. Most likely, and I kind of just want them to be in there. Starting with Darth Vader. Number 1, Darth Vader. The whole My Lord scene from that trailer, it's obvious that Vader's probably going to be, not even probably, it's obvious that Vader's going to be in this series. A Maul versus Vader showdown is what fans have been begging for decades, and it seems like this show is going to give it to us. The second on my list is Palpatine. Palpatine is the person Maul is looking for. The revenge he seeks, it's Palpatine. Now, will we get a Palpatine versus Maul? Probably not. That wouldn't end well for our good pal Maul, and we know that Maul survives. He's in Rebels. So, probably not. My third one is Dryden Voss. If Maul's going after the Pikes, he's probably going to go after the Black Sun too, and Dryden Voss, the leader of the Crimson Dawn, is going to be one of them as well. One of the people that he goes after. Now, I think Dryden's going to be on his side because we know from Solo that Dryden is working for Maul. But you're going to see him in this series 100%. Now, my next 2, I guess, are me more so fanboy dreaming a little bit here. But number 4, I'm going with Asajj Ventress. Like I just said, the episode 9 title being Strange Allies, the fact that Asajj Ventress was in Tales of the Underworld last year, and they brought her back to life, there has to be a purpose for that, and I think her appearing in Maul Shadowlord just makes sense. The two of them, although don't really have much history together, they're both villains in the Clone Wars throughout, I guess. Asajj is not really a villain. And this is a show about the underworld, and she was in the show called Tales of the Underworld. So Asajj Ventress, to me, seems like a no-brainer because they brought her back to life, and you don't bring a character back to life without a plan, without a purpose. So we'll see with that. And then number 5, in my personal hope and dream, is Embo. Embo is confirmed to be in Embo is confirmed to be in the Mandalorian and Grogu movie. We saw him in the teaser trailer. But to see him be in Maul would be the perfect bridge to the movie. We haven't seen Embo in 15 some odd years in animation or in live action either. So the fact that he's appearing in The Mandalorian and Grogu, it'd be nice to see where he's been all these years in Maul Shadowlord. If we're getting the underworld, it means you're probably getting bounty hunters too. And where there's bounty hunters, you can get people like Boba Fett and Cad Bane. But to me, the most likely one would be Embo because we're getting him in about a month and a half on the big screen with The Mandalorian and Grogu. So those are my top 5 most likely characters to appear in Maul Shadowlord. Sort of cameos, I guess, but when you talk about like Vader and Palpatine and all of them, those aren't cameos. Those are just characters who should be there. Yeah. Interesting. You think Maul and Brander Lawson will fight the Empire together? As much as Brander doesn't really want the Empire on his planet, I don't think he's going to fight the Empire. That'd be wild. Cad Bane actually works with Maul in the canon comics. Does he? I don't remember that. Cad Bane is also has the same argument that Asajj Ventress has, that he just had his story told in a show called Tales of the Underworld. So I like that one. I like that a lot. Unexpected cameo list. Number 1, Boba Fett. Number 2, Fennec Shand. Number 3, Force-sensitive girl survivor from Master of Evil novel. Oh, yeah. What the hell's her name? She's from Daiyu. Was the planet Daiyu? What was her name? I know who you're talking about, though. Yeah, that would be unexpected. A very unexpected, yes. Yeah. Mike, we should do some call-ins. Oh, we can do some call-ins. Yeah, for sure. Let's do it. Predictions for Maul episode 3 and 4. We will do call-ins. If you are not yet in the Discord, there's a link in the description below to a Discord called The People Who Love Star Wars. Completely free Discord, by the way. And we'll open up a call-in stage right now and get some of you in here. Wait, what? Why is it? Ah, there we go. Oh, hang on. Hello? Did I fix it? I think I fixed it. Okay. So what you have to do is just raise your hand in that call-ins, and we'll get some predictions from you guys live. We haven't done a call-in in forever, so let's do this. But we can only do a couple, and we got to keep them quick because we got to get to some other stuff that's un-Maul related, future of Star Wars content type things. So you just have to raise your hand. I see a bunch of you in the audience right now there, but you got to raise your hand so I can get you in. Okay, but while we wait for you guys to figure out how to raise your hand, Cad Bane is very much a likely cameo, in quotations, because of the Tales of the Underworld series as well. I want bounty hunters. That's what I want. Yeah. I need it. I need it. But I guess we'll have to wait and see. Can nobody figure it out, chat? I don't know how it looks on your end, so I don't really know how to help you, but you just got to raise your hand. You got to raise your hand. Jabba the Hutt would be cool. Yeah, seeing some Hutts would be great too. Stinky the Hutt would be cool because he's going to be in the Mandalorian and Grogu movie as well. And we haven't seen Stinky the Hutt since 2008 in the Mandalorian in the Clone Wars movie. So that'd be nice. That'd be nice. You don't like the sound of your voice? I don't like the sound of my voice, and here I am talking about Star Wars all the time. Yeah. So I can't call in? Oh, you can. The Maul comic is called Darth Maul. It's the one where he kills the Twi'lek girl. Cad Bane, Aura Singh, and the other guy is there with him. Oh, okay. I don't really remember that. Maybe I haven't tapped into that one yet, but I don't know. Maul would stay in the shadows, and Lawson would be his leak in the police. Sort of like a guy undercover. I don't mind that. Yeah. I think there's only one. There's one thing people are overlooking, and it's the Star Destroyer. Vader is dispatched to kill the Jedi, and Maul and Tarkin to subjugate Janix. So you think that Star Destroyer is Tarkin? Huh. I kind of like that theory. I kind of like it. Being that Lawson was a former bounty hunter, maybe a previous bounty hunter in disguise. Well, yeah, him being a former bounty hunter means that he knows of other people like that. He knows of other bounty hunters, which would lead to likely appearances of Cad Bane, Boba Fett, Embo, etc. Yeah. Yeah. I've tried to call-ins 3 times and never gotten through. What? Are our call-ins broken? Is that why nobody can figure it out? I don't know. Maybe we'll have to figure out the settings for it off stream. Maybe that's why nobody's raising their hand, because you guys can't. All right, we'll end it for now, and we'll figure out how to do it off stream so we don't waste too much time here. All right. Well, then getting back to it. I want to talk about this. Sam Witwer sort of blew my mind here. Let's take a look at this. So, first we'll start. Yeah, let's just start with the interview. So, watch
15
this.
years ago, there was a Darth Maul game in the works. I'm curious, given your experience in the video game side of Star Wars, would you ever want to explore a Darth Maul video game?
I've become convinced we could do an incredible story. Yeah. If you asked me maybe 2 years ago, I don't know. Yeah, probably I would have said yes anyway. But now I'm like, oh, I know what we can do with them for sure.
15 years ago, there was a Darth Maul game.
The interviewee says 15 years ago, there was a Darth Maul game in development. It sort of fizzled out, whatever. Sam Witwer's response is, If you asked me 2 years ago, which would be before he started work on Maul Shadowlord, if you asked me 2 years ago, I would have said no, there's no whatever. But now he's got a good story for it. I guess my first question to you, Chet, would be, would you want a Maul Shadowlord video game? Actually, let's put up a poll in the chat. Let's start there. Let's actually end this poll, see where it's at. What did you think of the first 2 episodes of Maul Shadowlord? 71% of you loved them. 25% of you liked them. That right there is quick maths. 96% of you... Oh my God. Is this Rotten Tomatoes? 96% of you guys loved or liked the episodes. 3% said meh, and 1% hated them. We have the exact same percentage that the Rotten Tomatoes score has. That's a coincidence right there. Okay. Do you want a Maul video game? Yes or no? Do you want a Maul video game? There we go. Because Sam Witwer says he's down. So let's read this first. Incredible Darth Maul Star Wars video game possible, says Sam Witwer, which we just watched. There's a belief that an incredible Star Wars game following Darth Maul could be created, according to the character Sam Witwer. It's been nearly 15 years since the Darth Maul game titled Battle of the Sith Lords was canceled. For those unaware, developers of The Force Unleashed 2 Wii port, Red Fly Studio, was cooking up a single-player experience where gamers would take on the role of Maul. The game was in development for over a year until Lucasfilm was acquired by Disney and the former canned it. So before Lucasfilm was sold to Disney, there was a Star Wars video game in the works that was revolving around Maul. Since Disney has acquired Lucasfilm, they have told a lot of story with Maul in Rebels, in Clone Wars Season 7, and now he's getting his own freaking show. So there's plenty of Maul to go around. A video game about Maul to go hand in hand with the show, I would not be complaining about that at all. Imagine a sort of a Jedi Survivor, a Jedi Fallen Order-esque game. But instead of Cal Kestis in the light side of the Force, you're Darth Maul, and you're following... It depends on when it takes place in the timeline, of course, but you're Darth Maul maybe building up his criminal underworld. If they do this right, if they play their cards right, you could be watching seasons 2, 3, and 4 of Maul Shadowlord while also playing through the events of Maul Shadowlord with you playing as Maul and deciding where it goes. Now, obviously, that wouldn't be a canon game, or at least aspects of the game would not be canon, but who cares? You get to decide how to build your criminal underworld. You get to decide who you turn on, the Pikes or the Black Sun or the Crimson Dawn. You would get to decide that. That would be awesome. Sort of like a Star Wars Outlaws. Yeah, I guess The Force Unleashed, but The Force Unleashed is an insane story on its own. You'd fight Inquisitors in this game. Maybe Vader would be like the final boss, but it wouldn't be like The Force Unleashed is. Yeah. It wouldn't be like that. A Maul Shadowlord game would be the best game of all time. It could be if it gets created. All right, continuing. So we read that. We just listened to this, but I've become convinced we could do an incredible story. If you asked me about 2 years ago, I don't know. Yeah, probably. I would have said yes anyway, but now I'm like, oh, I know what we can do with him for sure. And that's from Battlefront 2 right there. Witwer is a gamer himself and is the voice of Maul and other key characters in games such as Battlefront 2. We even see him express just how much he loves Dice's games when live streaming himself playing it, or the Dice game, when live streaming himself playing Battlefront, that is. So how likely is it that we get a Maul game? Well, Sam is close with newly appointed Lucasfilm co-president Dave Filoni, and with the new head of Star Wars for sure loves Maul. He's brought Maul back from the dead in the Clone Wars. He's made Maul a big part of his show Rebels, and now he's making a full-on show about Maul himself. He just gave him his own show with a second season confirmed. Plus, Disney's new CEO, Josh Giamaro, is big on gaming. So maybe, just maybe, we'll see more ideas like this one come to fruition in several years. So, with that being said, would you want a Maul video game? Now, the most obvious answer to when it would take place would be right alongside the show, or maybe right before the show, in between Clone Wars Season 7 and Maul Shadowlord. I think that would be the best spot. But if you're getting really crazy, you could make it be a game about Maul being trained by Palpatine. And if you really want to make it like The Force Unleashed, instead of Vader and Starkiller, it's Palpatine and Maul, which would be awesome. So, all that to say, Sam Witwer wants a Maul video game, and he has an incredible idea for it. I'm in. Where do I sign? Because a Maul video game that would go along with the events of Maul Shadowlord, where you get to control who you do deals with, the Pikes or the Crimson Dawn or the Black Sun, who you stab in the back, whose heads you chop off because you're Maul now, not Cal Kestis, and you're not a good guy anymore, you're the bad guy. I am in. But if you want to make it the Force Unleashed, or very Force Unleashed-esque, and have it, instead of being Vader and Starkiller, have it being Palpatine and Maul, and have that relationship be told, I'm down for that as well. With the final battle being you versus Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan on Naboo. That would be sick. Okay, but a Maul Shadowlord series, yes or no? What do we think? What do we think, chat? And while you tell me, can I get some good cups follow orders in the chat, please? Bum, bum. I forgot. Whenever a new show comes out, that these live streams just fly by. Because we're already an hour and a half in, and we haven't even touched on the, I guess, whole entire other half of the stream. I forgot that when a new show comes out, we got to talk about the show itself, and that takes a long time. Okay, but I guess we can move on now. Oh, wait, no, we got one more Maul thing. One more Maul thing. One more Maul thing. So this was posted an hour ago by Lucasfilm, by Star Wars. So check this out.
I can show you a pathway to power of the Jedi. To teach you.
I can handle myself.
I can show you the pathway that the Jedi can't teach.
I can show you a pathway to power of the Jedi. To teach you.
This is it. Devin is a goner. Nobody can resist the lure to the dark side, especially when it's coming from Darth Maul himself. Even Ahsoka Tano was like, yeah, I'll join you, but why do you want Anakin? And then when that reason was hot garbage, she was like, okay, we're going to fight now. But she was fully on board. She was in. And then you see him in Rebels turn Ezra like it was nothing. Like he turns to the dark side so easily. He's going to get Devin Izara to the dark side in seconds. You know what? He's already got me. I'm on board, Maul. Let's do it.
I can handle myself.
I'm sure you can't, okay? I'm sure you can't. All right. But that was the Maul Shadowlord teaser for today. Whoever's working on those, whoever's the editing team for Maul Shadowlord, for the promotional material for Maul Shadowlord, just 100% raise increase, just 100%. We good? Okay. All right. Now, let's do this. All right, let's start here. 3 years ago, The new Jedi Order movie starring Daisy Ridley as Rey was announced 3 years ago. So 3 years ago, we got Star Wars Celebration in 2023. And that one was in London, I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong. And at said Star Wars Celebration, we got the announcement of the new Jedi Order movie starring Rey. And still, this movie is in active development. Daisy Ridley has given us countless updates on this film over the years. And honestly, I still think it's going to happen. However, originally when it was announced, it was supposed to be our first Star Wars movie since the sequels, and they realized that wasn't going to be a good idea, so we're getting Mandalorian and Grogu first. Next year is Star Wars Starfighter in May. So when will the Rey movie come out? At least, at the very earliest, 2028. That sounds like a made-up year. But it's only in 2 years. So 2028. And we just got done talking about a couple weeks ago, or no, last week, how John Boyega would be open to coming back, how he wants to come back and wield a lightsaber, how Finn should be a Jedi, all that great stuff. So now you have the Rey movie that was announced 3 years ago, and you have the fact that we could be getting John Boyega back as Finn in said movie. But the announcement of this movie came along with 2 others. A James Mangold movie called Dawn of the Jedi, which, by the way, Kathleen Kennedy actually gave us a big update on this year. James Mangold's Dawn of the Jedi script with Mr. Willimon has been completed, and it is incredible, but we're not getting it yet because he's directing other things. And Mr. Willimon is writing on other things. So this has been put on the back burner. You're talking 2029, maybe 2028. But the most important one, the most important Star Wars film that was announced 3 years ago that really hasn't gotten much updates at all is Dave Filoni's. The culmination movie of the Mandoverse, which brings together the characters from The Mandalorian, The Book of Boba Fett, Skeleton Crew, and Ahsoka. That's how it was announced. To bring all 4 of those projects, the characters from those projects, together. To take down the one, the only Big Blue Meanie, Grand Admiral Thrawn. Now, it almost seems like, because it was 3 years ago, that this movie was forgotten about. However, it is still the end goal. This is the future of Star Wars. The Mandalorian and Grogu, of course, is our first Star Wars movie in 6.5 years, and that's a big deal. But it really is the kickstarting point to, can we do this? Can we make a Mandoverse trilogy that follows these characters from Disney Plus as they fight a big threat, the heir to the Empire, Grand Admiral Thrawn? They can come together. You can have all these people from Bo-Katan to Boba Fett to Fennec Shand to Cobb Vanth to Mando and Grogu to Jod Nanawood to Wim and frickin' Neil. To have them all come together to fight one big threat, and that is Thrawn. That's the end goal. That's the end game of the Mandoverse. So this movie was announced 3 years ago. Is it still happening? Well, yes. The only reason that we haven't gotten any updates for it, that it hasn't been, produced yet, is because The Mandalorian and Grogu has to come first, and so does Ahsoka Season 2. Ahsoka Season 2 is going to be a war in our Star Wars. It's going to have Ahsoka and Sabine off in a different galaxy, hopefully finding out about Abeloth in the Mortis Gods. And then in our regular galaxy, this big old war of Thrawn versus Admiral Akbar. The New Republic versus the remnant of the Empire. So that all has to happen before we get to this movie. So as we watch The Mandalorian and Grogu in about a month and a half, it's going to be its own story. It's going to be a story about Din and Grogu and whatever they go on. There's going to be hints and teases and loose strings that attach to this movie, that lead to this. Mando and Grogu, of course, being involved in this story that Dave Filoni's going to write, because it's a combination of all those projects, including Din and Grogu. But this is the end game. This is it. They could be waiting to announce this until Ahsoka Season 2 ends. Well, yes, Ahsoka Season 2 is going to set it up. Ahsoka Season 2 will be the setup for this movie. 100%. And I think they announced this movie 3 years ago because they knew that Dave Filoni was going to get his own movie. They knew that as a fact. However, they just didn't know what that movie was going to look like at the time. And now it's just fully rounded out into this perfect idea. And yes, Ahsoka Season 2 is going to lead us into that. Absolutely. And so is The Mandalorian and Grogu. But it took this long because they had to make those projects first. So, of these 3 movies that all got announced 3 years ago, they're all still very much on the table. This one, this James Mangold, Dawn of the Jedi, that takes place 25,000 years before everything else, the script is finished. Kathleen Kennedy and Dave Filoni and others have read it. It's just that he's directing a different project right now. And of course, they have to cast and all that other stuff. But it's been finished. The script has been finished. And supposedly, it's incredible. The Rey movie. Daisy Ridley is still attached. They still... now they're on to George Nolfi, was it? I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong. They still have a writer. The script has not been finished. I kind of forget now. But this is still in active development. And this movie is only not being filmed yet because of Ahsoka Season 2. And it's likely that this movie could start filming by the end of this year, or maybe even next year. Because if you're doing a Mando trilogy, it's likely that it will be the same run as the sequel trilogy. Because the sequels came out 2015, 17, and 19. A year in between each. So every 2 years, we got a sequel trilogy movie. So it's likely that if Mandalorian and Grogu comes out in 2026, the Dave Filoni Mandoverse movie comes out in 2028. Am I the only one who noticed that Kathleen Kennedy's name is not attached to Maul Shadow Lord? That's not accidental? Well, she's not the president anymore. She's not the president of the company anymore. Did anybody actually ask for Dawn of the Jedi? Or is this another Legends retcon? Well, Legends aren't canon. That's the whole gist of them. However, did anybody ask for Dawn of the Jedi? Absolutely. We've been begging for an origin for the Jedi for forever. And yes, it does exist in the expanded universe. I know that. And it is a great story. The Dawn of the Jedi is a great story, and that's why we want to see it in canon. So, yeah. I don't understand why they keep doing stuff about the sequel trilogy characters, when clearly nobody cares about them. Well, I think you missed the sequel trilogy that they made, where each movie made over $1 billion. I think you've missed the massive fandom around the sequel trilogy. Now, the sequels aren't my favorite, I'll put it that way. I have a lot of issues with those movies. However, you can't deny that there is a massive portion of the Star Wars fandom that absolutely loves those movies. Loves those characters. I love Kylo Ren, like he's a great character, just from Ben Solo all the way through. But Rey, I think I want to see more of Rey. I want to see more of Finn, 100%. So, yeah, there's a large portion of the fandom that still loves those characters. It's like seeing the prequel hate and saying, yeah, we're not going to make the Clone Wars. You know? There's still a large portion of fans that just didn't have the voice at the time that loved the prequels. You know? Yeah. And yes, Dawn of the Jedi has been begged for a long time. So these 3 movies, although they were announced 3 years ago and not many updates have been made about them, are still very much in active development, and this one is the future. This is what we've all been waiting for. Hopefully the second movie in a trilogy, but it is the end game. It is what this has all been leading to. from Mando season 1, 2, and 3 to Book of Boba Fett to Skeleton Crew to Ahsoka season 1 and 2. It's all leading to this guy. All of it. Atten, Boba Fett being in charge of Tatooine, whatever Din and Grogu are working with the New Republic with in this movie, all of it is leading to this guy. The Shadow Council, all of it. So, there you have it. 3 years ago. That's insane. I remember, watching the live stream of that announcement. Actually, I don't think they even put it on the live stream. Did they? I don't remember. It was so long ago now. But I do remember breaking it all down. I remember the live stream that we had talking about all the new movies that were announced. When they announced 3 movies, we were like, holy crap, we are so back, because it was 2023. They hadn't made a Star Wars movie in 4 years. And we were like, what the hell's going on? We are back in the movie theaters. But then we still haven't had a movie since. It's been 3 years. And the first movie is going to be one that's not even... Actually, the first 2 movies, Starfighter included, are going to be 2 movies that weren't announced at this Star Wars Celebration 3 years ago. But that doesn't take away the hype that I have for these 3 projects. But tell me in the chat, which one of these 3, the Dave Filoni movie, Mandoverse movie, James Mangold's Dawn of the Jedi, or the Rey movie, are you most excited for? 3 years ago is crazy. It is crazy. Time flies. Time flies. Will Dawn of the Jedi be the origins of the Jedi, or just the Jedi from the movies? No, it's the Dawn of the Jedi. It's the origins of the Jedi Order. And I don't know if they'll keep the idea of them being called the Jedi in canon. Might be a little bit confusing. Maybe not, though. I don't know. We'll see. Having said that, though, it is 25,000 years before everything. Yeah. Yeah. Should we pull it up? All right, let's pull it up. Let's pull it up. By the way, 85% of you guys say yes, you do want a Maul spin-off video game, and I am 100% on board with that as well. Okay. I'll just say which of these Star Wars movies are you most excited for? And I'm not going to include Mandalorian and Grogu and Starfighter because we already know that those are coming. Rey movie, Dawn of the Jedi, or Dave Filoni. I'm just going to go Dave's Heir to the Empire. Because maybe it might not be called Heir to the Empire, but it's what it is, okay? That's just what it is. Which of those 3 movies are you most looking forward to? I know they were all announced 3 years ago, but they are still all to happen. Yeah. Indeed. I'm actually kind of interested to see where this goes. It's been a long time since we talked about these movies. Probably 3 years. Now we've talked about them since then, but still. The Hunt for Ben Solo. The Hunt for Ben Solo is still, I think, a very likely possibility, especially now with the new leadership at Disney and Lucasfilm, and the fact that Lucasfilm loved the idea so much. Kathleen Kennedy, Dave Filoni, they all loved it, and Adam Driver was on board. So with the new leadership at Disney, I guess, is more important. There is a world where that movie gets greenlit. And if you're getting a Rey movie, if you're getting a Starfighter movie, which is all post-sequels, then the Hunt for Ben Solo, it just makes sense. I mean, we got all this post-original stuff with the Mandoverse. We got all this post-prequel stuff with Bad Batch, now Maul. Further into the future is Solo. Further than that is Rebels and Kenobi and Andor and all that stuff. So why not the sequels get the same treatment? You know? And then Dawn of the Jedi. Dawn of the Jedi just is such a cool concept in my head because it's a brand new cast of characters and it pretty much connects to nothing. other than the sacred texts, which we know Rey now has. So technically it does connect all the way to the sequels 25,000 years later. But, yeah. Whoa. Dave's Heir to the Empire is winning this poll by a lot. All right, we'll leave that up there for a little bit longer, but that is winning quite a bit. All right, let's take a look at this. There's a new poster that was revealed for The Mandalorian and Grogu. New promotional posters. Here we got Din and Grogu. Grogu looking kind of sad there. I don't like that. And then the Razor Crest in the background on what looks to be a pretty deserty looking planet. What's going on with that? And then we got another one here. It looks like their hut from Navarro behind them, but Navarro's not that much a desert. This looks like sand. Strange. But a couple new posters. Grogu on his back. Grogu in the pod. Oh, so there you have it. So I wonder how they're going to deal with this. Wait, what? I wonder how they're going to deal with the Mandalorian and Grogu promotional stuff. Because right now, Maul Shadowlord is the thing. Everybody is talking about Maul Shadowlord. And the promotional stuff for Maul Shadowlord is incredible. It just keeps getting better. How are they going to promote a movie in all of this madness? Now, granted, after Maul Shadowlord ends on May the 4th, you do have 18 days, so almost 3 weeks to promote this movie. But they're probably going to want to start sooner rather than later. The tickets for this movie have to go on sale somewhat soon. So I guess we'll have to wait and see. All right, let's do this. No way. All right, let's read this. Hang on. Wait. This is not only Mandalorian and Grogu related, but also Maul Shadowlord related. What the heck? Take a look at this. Everything we learned from the Mandalorian visual guide. Is this out yet? Hang on. Wait. When does the Mandalorian visual guide release? Mandalorian visual guide is scheduled for release on May 26th. So it's not out yet. Did they get early access or something? Wait, what? Ahead of The Mandalorian and Grogu brings Star Wars back to the big screen after 7 years, DK has published a visual guide providing new insights into the world of Din Djarin and baby Grogu, not Yoda. I'm confused. Did they get early access to this, or is this already out? Okay. I guess let's just keep going. AI probably got it wrong. All right, let's look it up again. No, it said... Oh, wait. Oh, okay. Hang on. You're right. AI got it wrong. So, Mandalorian and Grogu visual guidebook published on April 2nd, which has already happened in the UK, but April 26th in the US. That's crazy. They get it a whole month and a half early? All right, let's read this then. All right, let's read it. The visual guide provides a canon term for the sensor data and information overlays that the Mandalorians see through their T-visor for their Beskar helmets. Mando vision. Love that. Oh, wait, you guys can't see. Fixed it. All right, so not only does this have Old Republic references, but it also gives us the armorer's identity. Okay, hang on. Yeah. The pauldron of Din Djarin's original armor in Season 1 was salvaged from a shore trooper. Shore troopers first appeared in Rogue One and later appeared in Mando Season 2 and Andor Season 1. The client wears a medal known as the Order of the Sixth Spoked Roundel. Roundel. This was a highly regarded honor bestowed for meritorious service of the Empire. Oh, this thing. Ah, okay, yeah, that makes sense. This nice medal from the Empire. So his service to the Empire. The medallion could only be awarded by one of the Grand Moffs or the Emperor himself. Wow. So he's got the good awards there. One of the Navarro covert Mandalorians was named Court Barlow, and is a member of Clan Bralor. Sure. In Legends, Clan Bralor, the typo is not making this easier to say, was an ancient Mandalorian clan that first appeared in the Knights of the Old Republic 2, the Sith Lords. That's a pretty crazy callback. So one of the Mandalorians that helped Din Djarin, one of the covert members on Navarro, is from the clan from the Knights of the Old Republic 2. That is cool. That is cool. Okay. Continuing. Another one of the covert Mandalorians on Navarro was named Pen Varad. And this is a member of Clan Varad. Clan Varad is the leader, and its leader, Marvix, were the main antagonists of the Mandalorian Raiders Flashpoint in the Old Republic. Multiple Old Republic references here. Another Navarro covert Mandalorian is named Ematst Kelborn, or a member of Clan Kelborn. This clan was first introduced in the BioWare MMORPG, The Old Republic. It also shares the same name as the character Kelborn from the Knights of the Old Republic 2, The Sith Lords. 3 Old Republic references in these. So this is crazy.
This is where the fun begins.
So just a mere months after the announcement that we're getting a Fate of the Old Republic game and the Knights of the Old Republic remake is still in active development, we get the fact that 3 of the Mandalorians that were on Navarro, in the covert that helped Din Djarin in Season 1 and 2. No, they die in Season 1. Wait, what? Yeah, in Season 1. That helped Din Djarin. They were of the clans that are from the Knights of the Old Republic. We might be getting the Old Republic stuff a lot sooner than we anticipated. Okay. And this is where things get crazy. This is why I stopped everything to read this article. The visual guide hints that the armorer was once a member of Maul's Shadow Collective. Next to a picture of the armorer's helmet, arrows point to the horns at the top and read, Fox Chronal Horns. Sure, Fox Chronal Horns. A reminder of the past. Fans have speculated for years that the armorer is actually Rook Kast, Maul's first lieutenant seen in the Clone Wars, and most recently in Maul Shadow Lord. The visual guide provides the most concrete evidence yet to that fan theory being correct. Now, it does not confirm that it is correct. However, it does give more of a tease to it. I think by the end of this Maul series, it will confirm that these two characters are one and the same, which would be awesome, just to know that Rook Kast is alive all those years later. But have not figured it out yet. Still not confirmed, I guess. During the days of the Old Republic, Zarganians enslaved entire Ugnaught tribes, from aged elders to helpless Uglets, and the species was scattered across the galaxy. Pelimoto has a scheme game called Grand Theft Jawa. That is awesome. That is so awesome. Grand Theft Jawa, in which she programs a pit droid to alter a stolen speeder to appear as a different one to then sell to the original owner. This is the best. The New Republic correctional transport that Din Djarin and others stage Quinn's escape from is named Botha 5. In the Bothans 5, sorry. Bothans were the spies network that first mentioned in Return of the Jedi and first appeared in canon in the novel Bloodline. Many Bothans died to get them the plans for the second Death Star. The rare black kyber crystal that powers the Darksaber was found on the ice world of Ilum. No. Huh. That's actually big news. Because the Darksaber, there was a lot of theories that the Darksaber's kyber crystal came from a crate dragon. And there's plenty of other fan theories too, but this confirms that it comes from Ilum. Huh. The more you know. Frog Lady is unfortunately not even given a name in the official visual guide journal, as she shouldn't. She is Frog Lady forever. The book confirms that her real name is unknown, as is the name of her frog husband. There you go. She will forever be Frog Lady. Grief Karga's protocol droid assistant is named CU-28 in the book. Previously, the droid was identified as CW-24 through a preview of Star Wars Droid Factory, figuring CW-24 would be a tribute to Grief Karga, actor Carl Weathers, who died in 2024. For some reason, the name was changed to CU-28. That might be changed because there will be a different tribute to Carl Weathers somewhere in the movie. So keep an eye out for that, I guess. The visual guide also provides some additional background on Pelion. Gotta love that. The book states that he has over 5 decades of service and has worked with Thrawn for a while. We knew that. Most interestingly, the book states that the seasoned captain eagerly awaits word from Morgan Elsbeth on her efforts to ensure Thrawn's return, which we know happens. So Mando Season 3 happens before the events of Ahsoka Season 1, so it makes sense that this book they've not figured that out yet, but yeah. This aligns with Tales of the Empire, which shows Pelion and Elsbeth on as long-standing followers of Thrawn. Presumably, Pelion has loyalty to Thrawn specifically, and sees him as the heir to the Empire, whereas the rest of the Shadow Council had different plans for reviving the Empire, specifically reviving the Emperor himself with Project Necromancer. The visual guide provides some clarity on the motivations of Moff Gideon and the Shadow Council. The Shadow Council is a collective of former high-ranking Imperials determined to bring back the Empire. To do so, the Council commissioned Project Necromancer, a classified scheme to use advanced cloning techniques, presumably to revive Sheev Palpatine himself. Gideon, however, has undertaken his own genetic research in private, which we see in Mando Season 3, which seems to be centered, at least initially, around Grogu. And Grogu still might be the key to bringing Palpatine back to life, but we'll see. Whereas Brendol Hux and the Shadow Council seemingly aimed to clone and revive the Emperor. Gideon has his sights on using similar technology to create Force-sensitive soldiers for his army and to imbue himself with Force sensitivity. This plan of the Shadow Council and Gideon, meanwhile, contrasts those of Thrawn, who wishes to collaborate with Dathomirian Night Sisters and launch a full-scale war on the New Republic. And this is what we will see happen in Ahsoka Season 2, and hopefully in Dave Filoni's movie. Moff Gideon was the person who masterminded the spread of misinformation across the galaxy that Mandalore was cursed, poisoned, and uninhabitable, which Empire sending false news about a planet sound familiar? That's exactly what happened to Gorman in Andor, so it's cool to see that. A tree outside of Din Djarin and Grogu's new home on Navarro is a Melurun tree. We were just 2 Melurun mentions in the same stream? Must be a full moon or something. We must have astronauts going around the moon or something. Mandalorians are a fruit that have featured in various projects, including Star Wars Rebels, as they are Harrison Dula's favorite. Yeah. The visual guide offers little bits of information about the upcoming Mandalorian and Grogu. The book confirms that the Mandalorian and Grogu track a group of snowtroopers to a snowy planet where an Imperial remnant base is located. This seemingly occurs at the beginning of the movie. Interesting. That makes sense because they're promoting it so much, and they usually promote the early stuff in the movies. But it does not give us what snowy planet that may be. Still no confirmation on that. The visual guide uses language such as there is a time jump between Mando Season 3 and The Mandalorian and Grogu. It makes reference to them having grown quite comfortable on Navarro between assignments and them having made a life for themselves. Interesting. A little bit of a time jump in between Mando Season 3 and this movie. Fascinating. However, the New Republic forces... Oh, wait. Yes, sorry. By the time The Mandalorian and Grogu, the New Republic is still largely turned a blind eye to the possible reemergence of the Empire. However, the New Republic forces are on the fringe of the galaxy, including Carson Teva, Zeb, and Sigourney Weaver. Colonel Ward face a stark reality and actively try to root out Imperial holdouts. So the difference between what's happening on Coruscant and what they believe is happening versus what the Outer Rim systems believe is happening are two very different things. I wonder why it's available in the United States so much later than the UK. That's weird. I don't know. I get like maybe a week or so, but a month and a half is crazy. That's wild. So not only could they be teasing more at this fan theory, but also multiple references to the Old Republic, which is great because we know the Old Republic is coming eventually. And a little bit of a tease at the Mandalorian and Grogu. That's really cool. I did not expect to be talking about that today, but that's awesome. So there you have that. Oh my God, it's been over 2 hours. All right, I do have to get on out of here. I got to go finish up a short for today. This was quite the live stream. I feel like, we got a show going on, and we haven't had a show going on in a long time. We haven't had to predict a next week's episode since Andor Season 2, over almost a year ago. So it's great to be back talking about Star Wars shows and all that stuff. But I appreciate you all so much more than you'll ever know. Smash a freaking like on this stream if you have not already. Hit that subscribe and all that great stuff. We did hit 200,000 subscribers over the weekend, which was awesome. We celebrated on Saturday, but you know what? We'll celebrate again right now. Hit it! So cool. So we did hit 200,000 subscribers, and I appreciate you all so much for that, and I could not thank you enough for it as well. We did go over 2 hours today, which is not the usual. So, yeah. May the Force be with you. Always. Chopper, come on, man. I'm going to replace you with Spybot. Yeah, I'll do it. Oh, yeah, what a great stream. What a great show. Chopper, we've talked about this. There's a better droid. There's a better droid on the screen right now. His name is Spybot. Don't make me replace you. Don't make me do it. Oh, getting a Spybot toy would be awesome. Lucasfilm, if you're watching, get started on the Spybot droids. I need me one of those. Okay, but having said that, I appreciate you all so much more than you'll ever know. This was quite the great live stream. I know we went very long today, but I appreciate you all being here for it. So, yeah. Hope you have a great rest of your evening. Great rest of your lives. And good night, everybody. Oh, that poll, by the way. You guys were 62% of you were most excited for Dave Filoni's Heir to the Empire. 21% say Dawn of the Jedi. And 17% say Rey's movie. Good night, everybody.